Hey everybody, and welcome to another speed painting here in my channel. I'm One Bright Sheep, and today I'll be sharing with you this painting process of a piece I like to call clear. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, so let's get on to the painting of this new portrait that I did, and I wanted to just do a little bit of an update here in this video. Instead of just going through a tutorial or some tips that I would like to share with you, I instead want to give a more recent news of what's been happening in my mind lately. I'm planning on doing a daily vlog series kind of thing, in which I'm not going to be showing my life really, because well, it's kind of boring and I don't want to bore anybody. And so instead, what I thought it would be a nice idea is to record myself sketching for every day. I hope to manage to do it for at least a month or so, just to see how things go, and I have to also measure the time that it takes me to upload and to edit every single video so that it doesn't interfere with my personal life too much because if you overwork yourself, you run the risk of burning out, and so that's never good. In hopes of avoiding that, I will be first trying out how everything works in the beginning, and then if I like the result, or if I know that I can handle everything and the pressure and editing and all of that stuff, then I will probably just keep on doing that. I'm very excited about it and I can't wait to begin, actually. But yeah, another thing that I wanted to talk about is that lately I've been feeling like my work has fallen again into that pit in which I don't really communicate anything with my pieces, and I'm just doing the portraits for the sake of rendering them realistically. And that's something that can happen very easily with me, or I would hope with other people as well, in which you focus so much in the technical aspect of your drawings that then when you actually start to think about the things that matter in an art piece, or the things that make a good artwork, then you realize that there's so many things that you still lack. And what I mean by a good piece is, well, you know that art is relative and everybody has their own opinions about it. And for some people, maybe a good piece of drawing or a painting would be, I don't know, a portrait or an illustration that has a strong skill level of anatomy or of composition or something more technical. And then for other people, maybe successful art means that you will be able to effectively communicate a message or a feeling, and maybe for other people it would be to provoke or evoke a reaction in the audience. And so the definition of good art is really subjective, and so my definition of good art is something that communicates to you and something that makes you feel something. And for my art, I wanted to take it into a direction in which I can inspire people. What I initially thought about when starting this channel was that I wanted to inspire other artists that were not very certain about going full-time into this art world, and I myself am not very sure right now that I wanted to pursue this until the very end. And I don't know if it's going to work out in the end, but I hope that it does. I have my mindset that I will try everything that I can to make this work, because it's something that really makes me happy to paint, to be able to paint every day, and so I want to ultimately be doing that for the rest of my life. But also I don't want to barely be paying bills and everything, so I have to also look into that. And I want to share my journey, because I feel like there's tons of people out there that would like to also follow this dream, but they somehow feel like it's impossible for them to do so. And I want them to see that if a regular person like me can do it, then everybody can. You just have to put like some effort into it, or well, a lot of effort, let's be honest, if you want to have art as your career. Because let's face it, there are a lot of people out there doing art, and there are a lot of people that will be above you, and so you have to be aware of that if you want to dive into this realm of creativeness. And I sidetracked a little bit, but I also wanted to put this out there, like why I started my channel in the first place, because I feel like it might not be as evident as I wanted it to be, and I'm working also on that to let you know that what I want to achieve with my videos is to hopefully inspire you, that you take your pencil if you haven't in a year or so, or that, if you're still drawing every day, that you keep on doing that, because I feel like that's a very nice thing to do, it makes me feel very complete to know that I inspire people. And so that's what I ultimately wanted to do. For that, I have to become better at art, because well, my skill level is still not at a point in which I'm happy with. I don't hate every piece that I make, but I sure would like to improve in a lot of senses. And one of these is to have more narrative in my work. As I initially started saying, I was usually working with digital media because I felt like it was better for me, like better suited for me. I didn't have to spend a lot on any resources or materials. I just had to make the initial investment for a drawing tablet or an iPad or something which I could draw digitally, but I already had that, and so I didn't really need to spend much money on supplies. And at the time, that was very seductive, I even dare to say. But then I started like noticing that my work was falling into this pitfall in which I was focusing too much on having pretty faces instead of a good narrative, and I thought that maybe if I went back to traditional media, it would be easier for me to discover myself or to have a more unique style than if I were to just do it digitally. I don't know why I thought this, but that was my initial take on my art, and so that's what I took back, traditional art. And yeah, so far in the beginning it was working pretty neatly. I started actually with just doing portraits in 2 colors, which were red and blue, and it worked fine in the beginning. I did my very first 10 pieces of the collection that I wanted to do, and I still have to set them up on my website because I'm working on that still, and I have to scan them and prepare them to showcase them online and everything, but they're already completed. And so when I finished that project, I really didn't know where to go from there, and I thought it would be a neat idea to relax for a bit and not do any sort of session or collection and just do stuff that I liked. And I found that I was really enjoying like the compliments and the feedback that I was getting when I started doing more rendered portraits. And I mean, I've always been able to do so. It's not something that I've developed in the course of like 1 month or something. It's something that I've been working on for a long time, and so I knew where my skill level was at, but very obviously people didn't know. And so when they first saw my work, in which I had a more realistic skin tone and everything, then they were very shocked, I would dare to say, because I don't know, for some reason I think that people in general always appreciate art more if it's hyper realistic, and I feel like sometimes realism can be one of the easiest styles to develop, because what you're doing is basically just copying your reference photo as good as you can, and that's something that's not very hard to do. If you really pay attention, if you take your time and go slowly, you can really grasp the proportions and everything right. And so yeah, I started doing that, and I really enjoyed all the comments that I was getting about it, not only online but also in person. I found that people really liked it, and I've always wanted to have this shock factor with my pieces, not as in a gross shock or something, but more as in, did you really make that? Because it doesn't look like something you would be able to, or stuff like that. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but anyways, what I initially started doing with my art, I started losing focus of that, and I started focusing more in making them look realistic, and that's not something that I'm really proud of. I mean, of course I'm proud of that. I just don't know the right words to say it, but I feel like there could be so much more to my art. It could communicate so many more things than just like a pretty face or something. And so what I wanted to do was to shift this view on art a little bit, and also to have a different take on the interpretation that I do of certain portraits and everything. And I figured that maybe if I start doing a more illustration kind of style, then I would be able to explore more deeply into this realm of backstories and character development and all of that. That might help me to develop a more deep style. And yeah, that's currently the plan. The idea basically surged, other than because of the fact that I was losing focus of my initial objectives with my art, also because I started doing for Inktober this series in my Instagram, which, in case you don't know about them, I basically put a story up every single day, and then I let you decide what happens next via this new poll system that they've implemented. And so yeah, you can go ahead and vote, and then depending on the results, the story is going to change in the end, which is very exciting for me. At least I feel like the people that follow me on Instagram are enjoying it as well, which is very nice to see, and so I'm pretty excited about that. But the point was, when I started doing those stories, I started developing characters a bit more, because even though they're quick sketches, what I do for Inktober, they are about characters instead of just random people and random portrait. I have to actually put some thought into it, and at the beginning I did start it out with making them have something to interact with. Like, for example, I did this old lady with her puppy that were walking down the street, and so I gave her, wrinkles, and she was very fancily dressed and all this stuff, and you could really see that, I mean, maybe you wanted to see see some more of her personality displayed in the stories, or you will want to know more about her. And that's ultimately what I wanted to achieve with every and each of my characters that I came up with. And so in hopes of doing the same with my other watercolor pieces, I will be like shifting my style or my take on art. And also there is the fact that with that, I'm taking back the point of why I initially wanted to change my style. I started losing like the interest in doing my Inktober sketches very detailed, and so I went back to my comfort zone, which is just doing portraits. And while I was having fun doing them, I knew that I was also not really making any improvements, because even though I was getting good practice in the sense that I was drawing different faces and everything, I wasn't really investing enough time into the backstory of everything. And so I realized this quickly, and in my last 2 or 3 pieces of Inktober, I tried to go back to this initial idea that I had in mind, and I tried to develop it more. The story was, the result, was very obvious, and it was that I needed to start focusing my attention more into developing stories and interesting facts of my characters rather than just making them look pretty. So yeah, that's what I will hopefully be doing right now. I also found some artists online that motivated me to do this, and because they have such unique styles, I'm usually a person that just follows people who do portraits because that's what I'm into. But this one artist had a very unique way of painting, and I was very intrigued by it. She had a lot of animal portraits and also some human portraits, and so I thought it was very interesting and how she did it and everything. She has a channel on YouTube. I will try to link her out. Her name is Lee. I don't remember her last name, but her first name is Lee, and she does these amazing watercolor and gouache cute illustrations, and I thought they were pretty neat and interesting, and so I wanted to explore more into the realms of that area of art. And yeah, we're drawing in near the end of this video, and so I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave a like down below, and also comment me if you have any thoughts about anything of this that I just said a few moments ago about switching your art style in order to become better, or if you think it's a mistake and that I should keep on developing my current style, or I don't know, anything that you have to say. I will really appreciate it if you could leave a comment down below. I'll also leave down in the description box all of my social media in case you want to have a closer look at my workflow and everything. I post on my Instagram every single day, and well, I will be posting here in YouTube every single day as well, but that's in the future. Maybe next week I will announce it and how the schedule is going to be and everything. And so yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.